welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hello, everybody. This is Evelyn Hershkowitz, Reader Services Librarian, Turn the Page podcast from the Syosset Public Library. And I am so excited today. We have with us Hazelwood, her first book, I believe, The Love Hypothesis. That was your debut, right?
Yes.
It was a New York Times bestseller. It is a fabulous book. When I read it, I said, this is amazing. I told everybody about it. Being a librarian, I am able to get it into people's hands. So it's wonderful. She's a fabulous author. I just want to tell you a little bit about Allie, and then we'll get into chatting with her. So Allie Hazelwood is the New York Times bestselling author of The Love Hypothesis, as well as a writer of peer-reviewed articles about brain science, in which no one makes out and the ever after is not always happy. Originally from Italy, she lived in Germany and Japan before moving to the US to pursue a PhD in neuroscience. She recently became a professor, which absolutely terrifies her. When Allie is not at work, she can found running, eating cake pops, or watching sci-fi movies with her two feline overlords and her slightly less feline husband. I bet you wrote that because it's your clever way that you write. Allie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here. Thank you so much.
And her new book, Love on the Brain, it comes out August 23rd, but it came out on the Library Reads #1 pick, Love on the Brain. Wow. Was that like thrilling to hear that?
It was, I couldn't believe it. Like I think I was in Brazil when they told me, and like I opened this email, like I think the subject of the email said something like #1 library pick, and I didn't really have good internet, so I couldn't get into the email, and I was like, so I was like building myself up, and I was like, wait, I hope it's what I think it is. I was so excited.
And for those who don't know about Library Reads, it's the librarians who vote for the books. So wonderful.
Yeah, it's just like the biggest honor for a writer. I think it's just like, we owe so much to libraries, and I mean, I think for every writer, libraries are so formative because that's where we get books and everything. So it was just a dream, honestly, highlight of my life.
I'm so happy for you. That is fabulous. So for those of you listening from our library, we will definitely have the book in print, and it will also be available on Overdrive. And I just want to let you know, I just looked on our Overdrive, and there's already 63 holds in our Overdrive consortium for Love on the Brain. So,
oh my God, I love that.
Still weeks away, and it's building momentum. It's plenty of holds. So
I am so excited. I'm so excited, honestly.
Yeah,
that's so like the best thing to hear.
Yeah, no, it's real popular already. So I'm really happy for you. So you are a neuroscientist.
I am, yeah.
When did you start writing?
I actually started writing in my last year of grad school of my PhD. I was very stressed out, and I discovered fan fiction at the time. And I mean, I had always been a very avid reader of all sorts of books, especially romance novels. I'm just like a huge fan of romance novels. They give me more happiness than anything else. And at the time I discovered fan fiction, and fan fiction is kind of like a more approachable medium when it comes to writing, because you're like writing characters that already exist, and you're writing and just putting it online. And so that's when I started writing a little bit, and then I started writing more and more, and then the books came.
Right. So The Love Hypothesis is your first book, but you have a bunch of novellas out also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have 3 novellas that came out within the last 6 months. I think we had they first came out in audiobook, and then they came out in ebook, and then they're gonna come out as like a bundle in January. I don't remember, but like at some point in the future. And those were also a lot of fun to write.
I've read a few of those also. I love them. They're so
good. Thank you so much.
So tell everybody what Love on the Brain is about.
Love on the Brain is another rom-com, just like The Love Hypothesis, and also set in academia and in a STEM setting. And it's the story of a neuroscientist who is chosen to lead a very important project at NASA, except that she ends up having to collaborate on this project with her grad school nemesis, kind of, sort of. And, the book is the story of them, of course, collaborating and trying to make this project work. And then, of course, falling in love, because it's a romance novel. Spoiler, they end up together.
Happy ever after. We always
Exactly.
like that makes us happy to read. And he seems like a wonderful guy. I really like him.
I like it too. It's I really like guys who are just like madly in love and would do anything for their girls. It's my thing that I love to read.
Are these characters based on anybody you know?
Not really. I mean, I think I was just I read the book during the pandemic. It was my 2020 I'm feeling all my feelings book. I'm stuck at home. I don't know what to do book. And I think I was watching a lot of, TVs and shows, and I just kind of took all the things that I love the most about all the things that I was reading and watching and like, kind of blended them together.
Well, it's fabulous. It's so great.
Thank you so much. I'm very anxious because it's coming out, like in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So how like those.
I don't think you have to worry. It's gotten great reviews on Goodreads. All the publications have given it really great reviews. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. The fact that 63 holds just in our little area alone should be enough to let you know.
I know.
Another New York Times hit.
I just feel like I'm just a very anxious person in general. Like I also, if you hear someone meowing desperately in the background, it's my cat. I am not torturing my cat. I have fed him multiple times already this morning. I don't know why he's meowing. Like I am a horrible monster who mistreats him because I do not. I would like to point it out, but no, I'm just a very anxious person. So I think I'm just anxious,
Are you doing a book tour for this book?
Not a big book tour. I'm doing some online events. I am doing 2 in-person events, one in Cincinnati and one in West Virginia, because they're near where I live. And then I am doing, I'm actually very excited about a bunch of like virtual things that I'm going to do. I have one at an indie bookstore with Emily Henry, which is just
that's
like
fabulous.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, that's Emily Henry. It's like I'm fangirling hard. And I'm gonna do a bunch of like, those Instagram live things with other like fellow authors like Sangu Mandana, who also has a book coming out on August 23rd. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, I think is called. And so I'll have a bunch of like little things, but mostly online, nothing in person.
Okay. So how do you fit in writing with are you still teaching? You still a professor?
I was for all last year, but I'm taking a year off. I'm taking a year off to see if I can, like, what writing full-time looks like for me.
Okay.
And to try to write, I have a bunch of books that I'm contracted for and that I kind of want to finish and that I haven't really been making a lot of progress on, but I'm on it. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to take a year off and try and, but I am, in the south of the United States. And it's at a university, and I have to say that I have not been very good at like doing both things last year.
Okay.
I am really I am just generally not good at multitasking. I was late for grading, I was late for like everything on my, like on the professor side of the job, and I was also late for everything on the writing side of the job. So I was like, time to like downsize a little bit because I wasn't doing it very well.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're very successful at writing, so I don't think that'll be a problem if you just focus on that. I think you've got a
I
good
hope
career
so.
going.
I hope so. I hope
think
so.
so.
I mean,
I think you're gonna be just fine, Allie. I really do. But I mean, I'm sure it was hard getting that doctorate. I mean, that was not an easy thing to do.
and I really do love neuroscience. Like it's I mean, for example, I moved here to the US from Italy just because I wanted to study that. Like I was really, really in love with the subject, and I still am. Like I just still think that the brain is the coolest thing in the world. So there's that. But I also really love telling stories and making people fall in love on page. It just makes me happy. So let's see what happens, you know?
Did you have trouble getting the book published, or was it picked up right away?
No, not at all. We were actually on sub for about 9 months. And to be fair, we went out on sub when the pandemic started. Like I remember it was the beginning of March, and we went out, and like I think it was hard for everyone because everyone was kind of figuring out the whole like how do we work remotely, and like just timing in publishing is always kind of slow when it comes to being on submission and editors reading your book. But I think that year was kind of not the best one. And also I think my books had a lot of issues, to be honest, because we put it on sub, and then we got some really, really good feedback from some editors that they were like, oh, this doesn't work. And so we actually pulled it from submission, and we edited it with that feedback in mind. And honestly, I really think that the book that ended up being published, so the Love Hypothesis, that we ended up actually selling, was much better and much improved because of the feedback. But overall, it was kind of a long process, and it definitely took a while. Okay. But I really do think that in the end it was worth it because we got all this feedback that allowed us to have a better manuscript.
Absolutely. Now, are you a big audiobook person? I know you said some of your other ones went right to audio before even publishing. So
actually, I'm not. Like, okay. I like it for nonfiction a lot. But not for fiction as much. I don't know why, but I want to get into it because I love to crochet. Oh. And I feel like it would be the perfect thing to listen to while I'm crocheting.
Absolutely.
Right. And so,
I mean, I'm a big audiobook person, so I love the audiobook. I think it's the greatest thing, especially when you're driving. I don't have much of a commute, but the little commute I have, I always listen to my books.
I know. And that's what my friends tell me too. They're like, it's perfect for driving, for commuting, for running, for going for walks. It's perfect. Yeah,
it is. It's really great. I highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure I read and listened to the Love Hypothesis. I'm pretty sure it was a very good audiobook, if I remember.
I think the audiobook for the narrator for the first audiobook, I don't remember the narrator for the second one, but for the first one, I think it was Kelly Dalton. And I remember that I really wanted her because even though I don't listen to audiobooks, she is the audiobook narrator of one of my most favorite writers ever, Mariana Zapata. And so I remember being like, I want to have something in common with Mariana Zapata.
Who is that author? I'm not familiar.
Her name is Mariana Zapata. She has like her most famous books, I think, are Culty and The Wall of Winnipeg, and I. She's also a romance author, and yeah, I love her. So I was fangirling so hard when Penguin told me, oh yeah, we can get her narrator for the audiobook. And I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, that's great. So English, I'm assuming, is not your first language, correct?
It's not. I'm Italian. So that would be my first language. Yeah.
But you wrote in English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd been living here in the US for a while when I started writing, and I feel like there are just more opportunities when you write in English, like the publishing world is just kind of, bigger in English. More books are required. And so, yeah, but I also have a lot of really good friends who read through my books and are like, this is not English. You made up this word.
It's funny. Has the book been translated into Italian?
It has.
Oh,
Not by me.
No. Okay.
But by someone else. But yeah, it has. It was such a it was so emotional for me to see the Italian version of the book. In a weird way, it was like more emotional than not more emotional than the US one, but like it was like, oh my God, like it's happening. It's in Italian. It's in my language. It was so weird.
So great. Did you sit down and read it?
Yeah, I read some of it. I actually really struggle with like rereading my own writing once a project is done, because you know how you cannot really change a book once it's been published, and like I keep finding things that I want to change, and I'm like, oh, I should tweak this, or I should do this different. So I struggle a little bit, I have to say, going back. But yeah, no, I definitely read a few pages of the Italian version, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah. Wow, that's fabulous. How many other languages do you know that it's been translated into?
I think we sold it to 31 countries.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing, but I don't know which ones are out yet and which ones are not. Sometimes, actually, this super cool thing happened. I was doing a signing a few weeks ago, and someone came up to me with an edition of The Love Hypothesis that was like the same cover, but it was in orange, basically like orange and cream. Yeah. And I was like, that's amazing, because the original cover is blue.
Right.
And that's from,
I have it here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the original cover.
Right.
Same cover, but in blue. And then it was like a Dutch edition. And I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing. That was amazing. Wow. I had no idea.
Is that a language you know?
No, not at all.
Well, you must know a lot of languages. You've lived in quite a few places, so.
Yeah, but I kind of got by with English a lot, so I cheated.
Now, in this new book, Love on the Brain, they end up at NASA. Did you do a lot of research about NASA to write it?
I did do research on like the Johnson Space Center and generally like the Houston location, but it was during the pandemic. I actually really wanted to travel there, but it wasn't really an option at the time. But I definitely like read up. I was like looking up, maps of the Johnson Space Center. I was kind of figuring out how, like, what NASA is like. It was really cool. NASA is so cool. So I got lost on the website and stuff many times.
Do you ever want to be an astronaut?
I don't think I do.
No. Okay.
I think I would be terrified, but I would love to like work with astronauts, like support the astronauts.
Right.
But I think I would like have a heart attack. Like in the process of going in space, I would die so many times.
Yes. I like to keep my feet on the ground. Exactly. I'm not interested in that.
I mean, even flying, just like regular flying, is kind of a little bit of a for me. So I can't.
You have to be a pretty daring, fearless person to be an astronaut.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I hear the cat.
I'm like, Hux, come here. Okay. He's coming. He's probably gonna shut up now.
So what are you working on now?
I am editing my third book, which is probably going to be out next summer. And then I'm also writing my fourth. It's which is, I was telling you earlier how my computer broke down last night, and I was like literally mid-sentence. And I was like,
I hope you didn't lose anything.
I don't think so, because I have very good like syncing with my iCloud, but
okay, good.
I was like so now I'm using this other computer, which is like the keyboard doesn't work, and like the little letters come out. So hopefully though, I will be writing my fourth book in the next few days, and so that's really. And then I am, like I said, I'm agonizing and just being generally super anxious about the fact that my book is coming out in 2 weeks. That is a full-time job, being anxious for me. So there's that.
I'm telling you, stop. You don't have to be. It's so many holds already. It's gonna be so popular. You'll be
I
fine.
wish I could. I wish I could stop, but
What is your writing schedule like? When do you usually write?
I write honestly whenever I can. I love to write at night, but also my husband really likes to watch TV together at night. So sometimes that doesn't really work out. Usually I just really try to squeeze in whenever I can during the day. Like, for example, this morning I woke up and I wrote a little bit, and then I had I had something going on. I had a meeting, and then I wrote again for like about half an hour before I connected with you. So that's kind of very much, scattered and all over the place. I wish I were a little bit more regular about it, because I feel like it's good to have a routine. So I'm gonna definitely, this upcoming year, I'm gonna try to like establish a routine for myself.
Yeah. And do you plan out your whole books? Do you have them outlined?
So to a degree I have to, because we I kind of have to get my editor's approval for a book before before writing it. So to a degree I kind of end up having to do that, but I also pants a little bit. There are always things that surprise me that I end up including or not including or changing. So it's a mix.
Right. Because your characters speak to you, I'm sure. They're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go this way.
Yeah, sometimes it just, sometimes you want them to do something, but like it just doesn't make sense for who they end up being in the story. And so yeah, you just let them be whatever they want to be,
In any of your books, or any of your characters like you?
I think all of my characters have little pieces of me in them.
Okay.
But no one is like, oh yeah, this person is definitely inspired by me.
What about your
like
husband?
little things? Oh no, my husband is very funny. I actually steal a lot of his jokes for the books, but that's pretty much it. Like, definitely he's not Levi, and he's not Adam from the Love Hypothesis, and he's not like any of those guys. He is way more annoying.
Is he a scientist also?
No, he's actually a professor of English.
Okay.
Yeah, we met in grad school, but his doctorate was in English. So
okay, very nice. That's great. Okay, I want to thank you so much for speaking with us.
I mean, thank you.
But I love your books. I love the way you write. You're funny. It's so enjoyable. Your characters are great. It's a wonderful thing. Everybody listening out there, I highly recommend Ali Hazelwood's books. Please get them. Call us. We'll put them on hold for you. You will love them. And Overdrive has them all. So please contact us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali. So I'm just going to close this chapter of Turn the Page.
Okay.
And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And good luck. Don't worry. It's going to be great.
Thank you so
New York
much.
Times bestseller. Don't you worry. It's going to be right on that list. Okay, Ali, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.